Bazango! We have been talking about how maybe we need to open up more than just with, hey, WLE community. So
we're gonna get a theme song.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to drop mad wisdom by her badass self is Carrie Anderson.
Raise a roof. Anyway, hi.
Hey. Oh, we forgot.
Dottie says hi.
Yeah, whenever she hears the word hello, hi.
Hey.
Never mind. Just broke.
That's Dottie. Yes, it is. And she keeps bringing me this tennis ball.
Just throw it like this. We're on our second floor deck. Behind us, you see the back of our property. You can see the pool right here. And I've been hanging lights all over the place. Do you know why? Because we're getting ready for summer.
Yeah, so one thing that they don't have in Hawaii, or rather that I noticed, but we came home to an abundance of, is pollen.
Don't lick it.
So, we've been doing some yard work today, and we decided because we have some things going on tonight that we would go ahead and live for you guys now while it was still kind of pretty outside, so you can kind of get the feel for a little South Carolina spring. Yeah.
You know what I love about spring?
What's that?
I feel like new beginnings. It charges me up.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like all like in the mood to do things, like hang lights in trees and build stuff.
How about I make you a list?
I was trying to segue into our topic, not get a job. So the whole theme this week has been, with you have a great quote that I think you stole from somebody, but I'm going to give you credit to it. It's why don't you say it?
The way that you do anything is the way you do everything.
I love the intentionality of that quote, but I tell you what, I don't resonate 100% with that because I do some things really well. And then there's a lot of things I kind of half-ass it. So can you kind of explain what you mean by that?
I think what the quote is supposed to mean is that whoever you are in one situation is really who you should be in all situations. So it's this idea of being your best at all levels.
Sure. Okay. So what I think I heard you say is, look, whatever your identity is, you're going to show up inside of every role that you pick up. So whether it's husband, CEO, father, yard work dude, etc., etc. If I am really tuned in to my personal identity, then that personal identity is going to show up.
It should
in all
trickle
my roles.
down. Exactly. So a few weeks ago, we did a poll, which was fun.
Wasn't it though?
About what you guys felt the best sort of tagline for whole life entrepreneurship was. And the winner was this idea of being a lighthouse for how to guide you into bringing your best self to your business and your home life.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of being your best self in all areas of your life, so that no areas really get neglected, but that you get quality results across the board.
So that's challenging because it changes how I measure things. So if I'm the best salesperson in my company, then it's really easy for me to measure the amount of revenue I generate. Am I hitting my quota? Am I getting my bonuses? How much money am I making? But being the best salesperson in my company doesn't necessarily mean I'm my best self. Because I could be the best salesperson in my company without really trying if everyone else sucks. So I think that this whole concept of being your best self and living your personal identity has a lot of internal measurements and not external measurements, which is great because...
So you can't judge the status of your marriage on the fact that your wife is really grumpy and jet lagged and has been for about a week? That's not
I know I shouldn't, but I totally am.
Yeah.
I am living in that false data, and it's beginning to wear me out. I'm just saying, it's wearing me out.
It's requiring a lot of naps.
For everybody. I just spit. I'm like, for everybody. For everybody.
Live. Facebook Live. Anyway.
Yeah, so what are some of the ways that you measure yourself internally, right? Because you can be you could have like this amazing cardio dance blast, Zumba thing. You got 18 ladies and maybe one dude who's like, man, that was great. You kicked my butt and you're feeling all great, and you come home and the kids are being jerks, or your husband went and spent another $50,000. Right? So how do you measure some of these internal stuff? What is it that you're doing? What's up, Scarlett?
Hey, Scarlett! Well, I think that sometimes depends. The other part of my post earlier in the week was...
You're just gonna ignore my question.
No, I'm getting there.
Okay.
The other part of my post from this week was our experience with meeting cheering. Is it Tub Gay?
Not even close. Top guy.
Because he's the top guy.
Moving on.
Anyway, and he's the former Prime Minister of Bhutan, and he talks a lot about happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll get into that a little bit more, but for my purposes, I believe that there is a difference between happiness and joy.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that happiness tends to be something that's sort of elusive and temporary. Joy is something that's a state of mind and a state of heart. And so that's really what I call where I take the temperature on my homeostasis. Does that answer your question? So if I'm still feeling like me here,
mm-hmm.
then I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm happy or I'm unhappy, and that's gonna, be the benchmark from a ruined life or whatever.
So, did you say? So, by the way, that's happiness for the corgi.
Yes.
Joy is for us throwing it this
toe
way.
up tennis ball is like joy for her. It doesn't take much.
So you've used happiness and joy, but does that represent bringing your best self? Because sometimes I'm my best self, and does that mean that I'm going to have joy regardless of the circumstances that's going around, because I'm showing up authentically me, and that gives me a resilience to deal with difficult situations?
I like that. I do like that. I think that would be the benchmark of someone who is emotionally fit.
Sweet.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, emotionally fit.
Because I don't think emotionally fit really equates to happy necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it could contribute to overall contentedness.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
What's up? Hello. So what's the punchline then? Why is this important for your family, for your business?
Well,
for your
because I
life?
really think that that's kind of what whole life is all about. Thanks, Corgi, for opening that door. Oh no, it's a child. Hi, child. We're on the internets right now, so you need to go away.
I love you. Go inside. Watch another Pokemon. I'll give you permission. Off you go.
Can I watch 9?
You can
9
watch,
Pokemons.
You watch 2.
9. Sure, bud. Close the door, y'all. This is why we do this at 8 o'clock every Sunday night, because they see us doing fun things and they're like, I want to do fun things. I want to look at them while they do fun things.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
You were saying.
the idea of this is that happiness or overall contentedness and success even with yourself and in your relationships should trickle down into your business,
Mm-hmm.
and on a higher level even contribute to how business feeds into the world. So you wanted to speak a little bit to this and how that affects
So
business
true.
leadership and world leadership.
So true. All this was a setup so I get to start talking.
Hey Jules,
Mm.
Adam's talking, so listen closely.
So, about to sprinkle some mad wisdom now. Here we go. I just got done with a 12-week course with a executive coach because I needed to adjust how I was processing up here. I needed some reprogramming. And so one of the awesome things that happened was learning about self-resilience and self-identity, right? So he started off, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but after working on this process for 12 weeks and being really focused on my target. So he said I was compliant to a lot of things, like speeding. I don't speed when there's a cop behind me, but when there's no cop, I'm like gone, right? He's like, so you're not committed to driving safe, you're compliant to not getting caught. And I realized there was a lot of things that I was doing that was a behavior that I was compliant to. I was showing up to things I didn't need to. I was doing all this crap I didn't need to. And so when I began to make personal commitments to myself and then identifying who I was, so my identity statement is I am a man of nature-bending purpose who leads by example. And that leads by example thing shows up in everything I do these days. When I'm at the gym, I'm working out and I want to quit, I'm leading by example. If I'm trying to work out on the road, I know my kids are watching, I lead by example. So lead by example really makes me feel uncomfortable, and it shows up in every single part of my life now. And the second part of that, the first part of that was nature bending purpose, was me having a target of what I'm trying to hit. And guys, it's easy mode now. So now that I know who I am, and I know what I'm doing, like the business world has just opened up. I am having, it's not deal flow, it's deal flood. There's just so much opportunity coming my way. Things that used to be hard are now easy. It's no longer hard for me to find the right people to work with because I'm so clear with what I'm trying to get done that people who resonate with that are drawn to me, and I don't even have to explain it. They're like, yes, I'm in, I want to do that too. An example. I was in Austin, Texas. I was hanging out with some of these guys. I didn't know anything about them. I'm starting to talk about my vision, my mission, what I'm trying to get done, and why I need to do it. And it turns out 2 of them were in the exact same industry trying to do very close to the same thing. And now they're going to run with it. And I'm going to have to do like very, very little effort compared to what I was going to have to do. And it's the same thing. It just keeps happening. In business, when I'm clear with what I'm saying, where I'm going, and I show up authentically with who I am, meaning that I'm going to have integrity because I'm going to lead by example. Everyone is going to be discipled by me leading by example. Oh man, we haven't made the money yet, but there is so much that is set up that I'm really excited to come back 12 months from now on the anniversary of this podcast or this whatever, the Facebook thingies, and be able to say, look, this is how much we made from that by me showing up authentically who I am and focusing on getting me right first. So in our workshop, we talk about how 2 people who are drowning can't help themselves, help each other. They got to do self-care first. By the way, I think Scarlett's the one who told us that.
Maybe.
I'm pretty certain it was. And so the same thing is kind of reinforcing what I'm talking about now is when I decided to get right with myself and pick who my identity was going to be and then live that identity and walk that walk and be self-aware and self-reflective and building up my own resilience, I feel like we're having better conversations. I feel like I have better conversations with my employees. I feel like I have better conversations with my business partners, and these better conversations are all leading to better results. So a higher truth, a higher ideal leads to more opportunities. And so you get that by really checking in with who you are and working on yourself. Does that make sense?
It does. And in fact, I've been thinking a lot about labels and the boxes that we shove ourselves into, or maybe that even society shoves us into, and just how sometimes damaging, sometimes comforting, sometimes confining, sometimes restrictive. But I think when we live there for too long, it's very, very hard to grow in any direction if we live too long in the same roles and boxes without occasionally checking in and just doing a heart check and making sure that that's still who you want to be. Does that still fit in line with your personal identity statement, with your own mission statement for your family? You know, last year I started working outside of the home some again, and that was after what, 3 years of being
I lost you. There's a wasp that just went right over there.
Don't let it sting me. I'll cry on Facebook Live.
You're fine.
But that was a stretch for me. It's so easy for me to get into a place of comfort and want to just hang out there and not take any risks. But there's no growth there. That's not being your authentic self. That's not giving yourself opportunities to go and find your happiness. I mean, you might have contentedness, but you still, I think, have to have those little moments of happiness to really be a well-rounded person.
So you just said something pretty cool, and that's...
Yeah, I did.
You just said something really cool.
You have like a tree in your eyebrow.
I've been hanging lights in the trees around the pool.
Okay.
So, contentedness. Sometimes contentedness can be confused with...
What? Wasp.
Wasp.
Yes.
So
if
sometimes...
I get stung, I'm going to be...
Focus up, woman.
Sorry.
So sometimes contentedness is confused with resigned. Here's a warning sign. If you hear somebody say this, or you yourself say it, this is just who I am. I've been this way. I'm not going to change. It's who I am. That's a trap. You're being lazy. Get off your ass. You're in a box now, and there's something you're not comfortable with that you're not looking at.
You know what? Let me just interject, and I mean, we'll bring this sort of back around full circle. That's a conversation that you and I used to have that was extremely sensitive. You are very ADD. We live with an ADD child, and that requires a little bit of rewiring of myself to be able to appeal and what's the word I'm looking for? To be able
meet thermometer.
To be able, to meet their needs and still have mine met, because they're just so blah 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 that it's, but it's like, oh, I forgot to pay the water bill or whatever. I'm sorry, that's just the way I am is not a good enough excuse for not paying your water bill. I mean, you still have to like perform to a certain level, whether it's the way you are or not.
So,
I mean,
so bringing it back to the business
if
side,
I was a murderer, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, that's the way I am. I'm just murdery.
Yeah, that was a good analogy.
Did I mention I'm jet lagged?
I don't even know, murdery. So if you're looking at yourself in your professional career, if you're looking at employees and you know the company is growing and you're like, I want to take this pool of human beings and I want them to grow with me. I want them to come along with me as I go from 1 million to 10 million, right? Most employees can't ride that ride. Most employees are going to need to be fired along the way or demoted or moved out of positions of power because they don't know how to change that. So if you're hearing somebody say, that's just who I am, that's the way I am, that's somebody who's in a growth mindset. They're in a fixed mindset. They're not willing to change. That's a warning sign in your relationships with friends and family, meaning that maybe you should...
Significant others.
You can still love them, but you maybe are not going to involve them in all the stuff. And especially your leadership staff, if they're saying the same kind of thing, those are folks who are not going to grow with you. Look, I'm good at sales. I got the thing. I'm going to make that happen right now. Look, this one marketing campaign is fantastic. Look, our product is fine. It's been fine for the last 10 years. Why should we change? Those are people who are lacking emotional fitness, the ability to grow.
And that's okay. That's them and where they are then. I think that we just have to be really, really cautious as entrepreneurs and leadership within our community, because that's part of what we signed up for, is being entrepreneurs. That's what we're feeding the machine.
Yeah. Well, you wanna wrap this up?
Yeah. So we are going to be talking a little bit this upcoming week about vulnerability.
Are we? I don't think I'm ready for that.
And authenticity.
Oh, authentic vulnerability?
Not like fake vulnerability. You're not gonna sit here and like make it up, are you?
I might.
He might. But anyway, we appreciate you guys who have tuned in with us this week.
Ooh.
I didn't get stung by a wasp,
Ooh.
so
ooh.
thanks for checking.
Ooh, one more thing. Physical fitness. You can't just get in shape and then you stay in shape. Physical fitness requires you to work out, eat
look,
healthy, all the stuff.
Jennifer's on here. Hey Jen, don't you know that if you don't go to CrossFit for 2 weeks, that when you go back, it's a little bit hard?
Yeah, same is true for emotional fitness. So this is not something you arrived at and you're done. This is a constant effort. That's why we have these tools that we've created, the 3 C's and all that stuff. Think of it as your relationship gym that you go to. Your emotional fitness is just as important to work on a daily, weekly, monthly basis as your physical fitness. And it's honestly more complex. At least when you go to the gym, in our case, we've got a coach who says, do this exact thing and don't complain. And here's a diet that you should follow. Well, emotional fitness, you can get some of that stuff, but man, it's a thing. So that's why we've got the Facebook community. That's why we've got all this, is that I have found personally much harder to have emotional fitness and to have that last over time if I don't surround myself with other people working on the same thing. So
we get by with a little help from our friends.
I'm gonna try the wave thing.
Let's wave. How do you?
Boop.
Hey.
I just waved.
Hey.
Hi.
We waved.
All right.
Look at us.
Oh, dog's barking again.
Daddy barked because we said, hey.
Oh. All right. I think we're out.
Yes, I think so. Well, we will
Hey.
check in with you guys throughout the week. Again, we really love all the interactions that you guys are doing in the comments. If you have any topics you want to talk about, let us know. Shoot us a message or a private message, or you're welcome to introduce it to the group on your own. Whatever works.
Yeah,
what were you gonna say?
special requests. I asked for I'm trying to get better at conversations, and so I posted a little TED Talk on, the 10 things about conversations. If you know any sources that you can share with me, find that post and link me to places that I can watch, listen, read to get better at conversations.
Right, because remember, this is supposed to be a resource. And so we want you guys to be a resource for us too.
That's really my primary reason.
We're in the thick of it as well. So if you ever have anything that you want to share, please feel free. And we will see you guys next week. What's next Sunday?
Are we going to be in New York?
No, not yet. Not yet. That's the 5th.
I don't know.
That's the 5th. So we'll still be here.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.
Your hair looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.